Hey everyone, I'm here with a new Jurassic Park video today. Today I'll be doing a bit of a throwback review. I'll be reviewing the Jurassic Park 3 Coca-Cola Kaiyodo figurines. These figures came out in 2001 around the film's release, and these were only available in Japan actually, because of course Japan gets all the good stuff. But you could find these in a case of Coca-Cola in a blind bag that looked like this. So you didn't know which one you were going to get, just randomly inserted in a blind bag. So you can see here you got the Jurassic Park 3 logo there, and it says, "Let's collect 12 plus secret variety figures." And on the back you got a description of all the figures that were available in the lineup. You got the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex, the Velociraptors, male and female, and you got the Pteranodons, you got the Triceratops, the Pachycephalosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Parasaurolophus, the Compy, and the Stegosaurus. So let's get started with our figures today. So let's start off with the star of Jurassic Park 3, the Spinosaurus. Very nice detailed figure here of the Spinosaurus. It looks just like the one from the movie, very well detailed. You can see the teeth are individually painted, and it's got a nice stripe pattern down the body, and the spine is bumpy and rigid, and it's got a very good sculpt to it. I apologize for the blurriness, the camera goes on autofocus mode, but they did very good job with the detailing of all of these figures. They did very good details with the paint all over the body. And on the other side here, you can see the Jurassic Park 3 logo. All the figures have this on somewhere on the figure. And on the bottom, it has some information about the figure. You can see it says 1 Spinosaurus, and then the copyright information on the bottom there. All the figures have this. So that was the good Spinosaurus. This is probably one of my favorites of the set, as a matter of fact. And of course, you can't have a Jurassic Park figure set without the icon itself, the mighty T-Rex. This is another one of my favorite figures of the set. It's got a great pose to it. It looks like it's charging and attacking. It kind of reminds me of the Stan Winston Studios sculpt that they used as a maquette for the first movie. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing a sculpt of doing this exact same pose. And a lot of people have actually complained on the internet about the green color scheme of the T-Rex. And I actually like this paint scheme of it. It's got the green top with the whiter underbelly. I do like that scheme, actually. Now, they painted some stripes along its back here all the way down to the tail. And they, of course, like the others, they painted individually inside the mouth of the teeth there. And another thing that I like about this figure so well is that they paid so much attention to detail to the T-Rex. You can see here the neck muscles and the wrinkles there, and even the skeletal outlines of its sockets can show very well as well. I mean, with an icon like the T-Rex, you want to put as much detail as you can into this great looking beast. And this is just another one of the great figures of the set. Now, let's see what it looks like with the Spinosaurus as they had their iconic clash in Jurassic Park 3. Very nicely done. The color schemes are great. And they look great standing next to each other like this. It'd be a good display piece. Now, this one is number 2, the T-Rex. Classic. Next up, we have the Stegosaurus. I really like this figure as well. It reminds me of the Stegosaurus toy from the Lost World that I used to have, especially with the paint and the colors. And I like how they did the pose with the tail and the spikes up here. And if you look on the plates, you can see that they have small grooves etched into them. And on the grooves, they're all painted with a darker tone of the brush, which goes to show that they didn't mess around with the details of these figures. And this one has the number 12 on it, number 12 Stegosaurus. And actually, if you take a quick notice, this one has a green base, and the Spinosaurus had a red base. So the carnivores have the red base, and the herbivores have the green bases. Next up, we have the Brachiosaurus. Now, unfortunately, this is one of the less detailed ones in my opinion, just because of the paint job. It's just a solid yellow color with the dark brown stripe going down its body there. It's got a good sculpt to it. It looks like a Brachiosaurus, but the colors are just off. If you remember in Jurassic Park 3, the Brachiosaurs they were gray with green splotches on the body and red on their heads, but this one doesn't have any of that. It's just a very plain color. And this one is number 9 of the figure set. Number 9, Brachiosaurus. Not a terrible figure, but it's definitely not one of the best. Next, we have the male Velociraptor. This is another one of my favorites of the set, just because of the exceptional job to detail they put into this figure. It looks just like the male Velociraptor from the movie, and if you look at the very closely at the eye, you can see a dark blue circle painted around it, and they even put the tips of the feathers on its head red. Very nice paint job throughout the entire figure. The sickle claws are very nice looking. This is just an overall great sculpt, I find. And this one happens to be number 3 of the set, Velociraptor male. This is definitely a very good figure of the set, one of my favorites. And of course, we have the female Velociraptor. They did a very good job with these raptors on the sculpts here. And this one in particular, because actually the black spots on its body are actually raised in little bumps here. So they put a very good amount of detail into these figures. Just like with the male Velociraptor, they did very good with the sickle claws here. And this one, they put a dark red circle around the eye, and they painted each of the individual teeth as well. Very impressive figure. Another one of the better ones of the set here. And this one happens to be number 4, of course, Velociraptor female. Next up, we have the oddball of the bunch, the Pachycephalosaurus. Now, why is it the oddball, you might ask? Well, if you remember Jurassic Park 3, Pachycephalosaurus wasn't in it at all. I'm surprised they didn't make an Ankylosaurus of these figures, because that at least was in the movie. But we did get it for Jurassic World, so whatever. But this one's not a bad figure either. It's got a good paint job reminiscent of the Lost World toys, and they did a very good job with the bumps on its head. They got the small little bumps here, and they painted the beak well, and around its head you can see all the little individual knobs around its domed skull here, and it's got a very, very subtle glaze of the gray paint up here. They did a very good job on the eyes. They painted very good with the body and the sculpt. Even though it wasn't a Jurassic Park 3, I still think it's a decent sculpt of the bunch. Now this one happens to be number 8, the Pachycephalosaurus. Next up we have the classic Triceratops. And a very nice figure of the set. Unfortunately it wasn't in the movie for very long, which sucks because Triceratops is a pretty cool dinosaur. But they were nice enough to give us a figure all the same, and a very good job they did. You can see on the frill each of the individual spikes are protruding and outlined in brown to give it that detailed look. And they even painted its eye red and black here, and they even painted the inside of its nostril too. Even the toenails were painted. They showed a lot of care into this figure. Probably figured, hey, if it's not going to be in the movie very much, we'll give a good figure to make up for it. And even on the back here, you can see the little bumps here. They're raised above it, the skin, to give it that pebbly dinosaur texture of skin. And of course, we have the Jurassic Park 3 logo here. Another one of my favorites of the set, and this one happens to be number 7, the Triceratops. Next, we move on to the Compsognathus, otherwise known as the Compy. Now, this figure, unfortunately, is hit and miss with me for a couple reasons. I like this figure because it's got a good paint job. It reminds me of the Compy from the Lost World. It's got a really good head sculpt. It looks just like the Compy. They did a brown eye for the paint job, and they individually painted the teeth and gave it a pink inside the mouth there, and the arms are pretty good for it as well, but it's the feet and the tail that take it away from that. Now the feet look very big for this creature. Now they could be for obviously for balancing issues, same with the tail, but the tail I find makes it very awkward and it looks too long for its body. But I think that the head sculpt in a way makes up for that. So they kind of balance each other out, if you know what I mean. Now, this one actually has a green base on it, unlike the other carnivores, which is, I think I can see why they did that, because it ate insects in the movie as opposed to the Lost World where it ate Theodore Stark. Now, this one has the number 11 on it. 11, the Compsognathus. Next, we have another creature that shined in Jurassic Park 3, the Pteranodon. Now, this is a very nice sculpt and figure as well. You can see all the detail they put into the arms and the wings especially. All of those little notches and scratches in it give it the wings that membrane look to it. And they individually painted the claws and gave it a stripe down its arms there. The wings are very nice. Any Jurassic Park 3 toy that you look up on the internet, or even a picture of the Pteranodons themselves, they did a very good job of giving it that similar look from the movie there. And on the face, you can see they painted a red stripe on its along its head and neck and beak there. And they gave it a yellow eye there, and they even gave it spots under the arms. They just put a very good amount of detail into this one. And of course, the Jurassic Park 3 logo here. And this figure here is actually sitting on top of a clear stick, as you can see. So it doesn't look too obvious because of its pose. Now, mostly when you look at it, you'll be seeing it from this point of view instead of from that point of view. but a very impressive figure nonetheless. Now this one happens to be number 5, the Pteranodon. So next I'm going to show you what I think is the best figure of the entire set, the Alpha Pteranodon. This is very, very well done, perfectly replicated from the movie and from other Jurassic Park 3 toys as well. I believe the giant Alpha Pteranodon had this exact same color scheme. This just has a very nice pose and a lot of detail, just like the other Pteranodon. Has all those notches to give that membrane look to the wings, and it gave that orange stripe on the head there. Very good detail on the eyes and the underbelly there. Very well done for this. And I think I also like best about this is the pose. It's not like the other Pteranodon figure where you can see here that it has that clear stick underneath there. This one is actually blended into the base piece of the figure. You can see a small little red rock there that it has its wing attached to, actually. But it's so well blended and well done that it looks like it's actually flying, which gives it an awesome display pose. It's perfect. And I just think this is the best figure of the set, no doubt about it. This one is number 6, the giant Pteranodon, not the Alpha, but I like to call it the Alpha just because it's just so awesome. Next up we have the Parasaurolophus, another dinosaur that wasn't in Jurassic Park 3 very long, but nice enough for them to throw it in there anyway. Now I like this figure because they gave the crest horn an individual color from the rest of its body, and they even painted the inside of its mouth pink as well. They didn't mess around with the details to this. I like how it's got a white underbelly here, and it blends into this tannish color and gives it the brown stripes down the body and the tail. It reminds me just like the Lost World Parasaurolophus. Very well done figure. And this one happens to be number 10 of the set, yes. Last but not least, we have the secret figure of the set. We have the Spinosaurus Skull. Now, I'm not sure if this was any rarer to find than the other figures of the set because it was all random, but very nicely done all the same. It looks just like a Spinosaurus skull. They gave it a nice fossilized look to it. It's got blends into a brownish gray at the bottom here, and all the teeth are very well detailed as well. And you can see down here, it looks like the hand claws of the Spinosaurus above the Jurassic Park 3 logo. Now this one, just like the smaller Pteranodon figure, stands on a clear stick here. Now you can move it around a bit. It's got a rubbery feel to it, and this has got it's got a very good detail to it. Very impressive figure. And of course, this is the number 13 secret figure, Spinosaurus cranial bones, it actually says. So very nice figure of the set. So there you have it, the Jurassic Park 3 Coca-Cola Kaiyodo figure set. Now, since this only came out in Japan, your best bet to get one of these sets is off of eBay or Amazon, I think. Now, price-wise, I paid about $80 for this set, brand new, about 4 years ago. So you're probably looking at a very similar or more expensive price range for the whole set, or you can buy these individually if you want to get certain ones. Just prepare to pay a little bit of a higher price for the individual ones, so choice is up to you. I do recommend that you pick this set up. The movie might not have been the greatest, but the sculpts of most of these are very well done, and they make a great display piece for any Jurassic Park collection. And I hope you liked the video. Which one of these figures did you like the best? Comment in the section below and tell me which one you like the best. In the meantime, stay tuned. I got more stuff coming for you. If you want to share this video, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you next video. Have a good day, everyone.